Hello guys, in this video I'm gonna teach you how to read your opponent, his psychology, and in turn win more games by knowing how he plays. Let's get into it. Hey guys, so today's video is more about psychology than it is about actually what to practice or a specific character tutorial. And the reason for this is because everybody can practice and everybody can get good if they just commit enough time to it. But I've realized that people have a hard time actually reading other people. So I made this video in order for people to understand it from my perspective and create their own perspective and how to actually win against those people they meet in Kombat League or casuals or whatever your goal is for the game. So this is a little mind map I created to make it easier for you guys, and you can already see that we can distinguish the players between good and bad. So let's start with the bad. The first and the bad type of player you will encounter from time to time, because they're not that common, are mashers. These are players who don't actually know how the game works and didn't play that much, and maybe these are probably the casual players that you can play against. If you and your friend just pick up Mortal Kombat and just want to play against each other, you'll probably fall into this category and just smash and see who wins, which is kind of okay, but you can beat those guys pretty easily even just by playing Mortal Kombat for, like, let's say half an hour and learning 2 combos. Okay, so the second category of bad players are spammers. These players usually, when somebody says spammers, they are referring to projectiles. However, spamming can be, if you've seen players who overly jump and constantly jump and jump kick and do all sorts of things, or players who constantly go for grabs, or players who spam different kinds of abilities, and these players are amongst the easiest to beat, because once you figure out their trick, or they only use one simple overhead or one simple low and every combo starts the same, once you pick up their trick, you can beat them in probably in the first 15 seconds of the round if you figure out that's the only thing they're doing. So pretty basic, self-explanatory. With like 2 hours of practice and a couple of combos and how the game works, you'll easily surpass these players. Next up we got the win-lose horse, or the KDA players as they're popularly called. So these players are usually, and if you're playing Mortal Kombat for some time, 11 or 1 or 10, you've encountered them 100%. These players usually play only casual matches, and the sole goal of their playing is to have more wins than they have losses by far. So sometimes you'll see like a guy having, like, I don't know, 1k wins and like I don't know, 50 losses, and that's because they get into the game, find a cheesy character or whatever character suits them. Maybe they learn them, they're decently good at, and they win one match against you and they instantly quit. Please pay no heed to these players. There's a shit ton of them. They're like bad ex-girlfriends, you know. The sex is awful and she nags a lot, and then when she leaves you realize it was a blessing. So don't even pay like mind to them. Eventually you'll encounter them again. They'll swing around in the queue, and then you'll know what they do and you'll beat the shit out of them, and then they'll want to play again, and then you just do the exact same thing. You just walk away and don't give them a chance for a rematch, because they're dishonorable and they're really easy to beat. And the BMers. So also a very common sight in Mortal Kombat. I don't know why people are so salty and tilted when they play games that are PvP. I have honestly no idea, but BMers are the people who they play the game and maybe they're decent with some characters, or maybe they have a couple of characters that they're all mediocre at. They can like cheese players or zone them at a distance and have a few combos, and in between those they like teabag you, BM you, do some hand gestures, block gestures, or whatever. And these players are like very, very ego driven. So if you lose the first match and they rematch you and you start winning and they can't win, then they start to panic and get very angry because they can't BM you and you're not getting like tilted by that, and then they start to get up in your face and try to combo you, but you realize soon enough that they have only maybe 2 combos and that you can win every time. And the best thing you can do against these players is win, maybe give them a couple of brutalities, they'll tilt them even more. And it's like a free and easy win because they don't know what they're doing, and that's it, just move on. Highest tier of these bad players would be shit talkers. Now in Mortal Kombat 1 the PC also has like voices, the voice chat, which previously 11 didn't have for PC, but the console players had it. So I would actually advise you to keep the voice chat open and just listen to them, because this will like actually help you become tilt proof. The goal of these players is to put you in their headspace and their mind space and make you tilt based on what they're saying and not focus on the game and what they're doing. And that's their main strategy of how they win. So these players are like super easy to beat, because if you can you have two like options. You can ignore them, which I would say, like, if you're not a super egotistical person, everybody can do it. Or if you're not just a child and you get triggered by like somebody saying some stupid shit to you, you just ignore them and play your own game, and you'll see suddenly they just go quiet because they're trying to focus on the game. But that's where the gap shows. You've actually invested time in playing the game, and you know your champion, your combos, and they know something but not enough to beat you, so they try to shit talk you, and when they can't, they just go quiet and then they leave after a loss or two. And the second thing is what I do most like often is ask them, like actually kill them with kindness. I'm like, bro, what's wrong? Whatever it is, it's gonna pass. I don't know why you're so angry. And some of them will start to flame you, some of them will actually go quiet and try to actually play the game normally with you. Some of them will use it for like, yo, blah, 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 and try to, like, what do you think, you're smart or something, and just ignore them and win. They have no skill whatsoever, and they're all pretty easy matchups. Whatever they play, they can maybe cheese you for one match, and that's it. Moving on. Okay, now we come to the hard part. The good players in Mortal Kombat. So here you have the having fun guys that have fun, the tunneling vision, the improvements, and the egomaniacs as the lowest rank of good players in my opinion. So let's start from the bottom. Egomaniacs. These players are usually, actually they can be pretty decent at the game, like any game they play, Valorant or whatever, but they play the game just so they can be better than anybody else, like you if you're their friends, or the opponent, or whatever. And if you encounter them in a match, they will usually maybe play 2 or 3 sets with you just so they can win, get that like dopamine high from winning, and then they'll move on. If you're not a challenge for them, they will not play you and they will move on. So this is the ego stage. Let's say this is something like platinum or low diamond in League of Legends if you ever played, or like platinum and diamond in Valorant, or whatever you play. These players are good, but they're stuck in their ego trap, so they tend to have a very hard time improving. And if you win against them, you can pretty much beat them by being better than them, and that sets them into a tilting motion, and then they start blaming the game and start blaming the input lag or whatever. So these players are good, but they're also kind of easy to beat if you just keep your composure and analyze the combos and the patterns they're doing. Then they go off the rails and they become even easier to beat. Next up, we got the improvements. Now, these are some of my favorite players, and if you ever encountered these kind of players, you should always try to play with them as much as you can. And what I mean by improvements are, for example, if you have a casual game against somebody and you're evenly matched, you're both decently good at your champions, you're good at the game, and you play, and let's say you win, like you play 5 games and you win all 5 games, this person still wants to play, you should most definitely play them, because this is one of the best ways to improve at Mortal Kombat. And also you should strive to be this type of player. Because these players don't give up on losing, and then try to learn as much as they can against you. Even if they want to play 20 games with the same character, and you just both practice characters and you've already learn each other's patterns and you become evenly matched, and suddenly they start winning a bit, and now it's a struggle to win because you can't, they can read you as well because they're good, they start eventually reading you. You should always strive to play with these players as much as you can, and this should be always, this is usually always a skill matchup because you're both on the same skill level and you want to improve and you both keep on playing. So my recommendation is to always play. If you spot this kind of a player that just wants to improve and wants to play as much as he can, you should always try to win with them, to play with them and to improve as much as you can. And my recommendation would be to add them to your friend list and play whenever you can. Okay, next up you have the tunnel vision guys. Well, what I mean when I say tunnel vision is players who are already playing, like, let's say for a couple of hours, and they're hyper focused on the games. These players are extremely hard to beat, and from time to time I fall into this category when I'm super focused on the game. When you play a game for, let's say you've been grinding Kombat League for like a couple of hours and nothing but the game, you put on some music and you only play, no distractions, nothing. You don't miss your combos, you're warmed up, you connect all your strings perfectly, and you're really in the zone as the Americans say. These are some of the most difficult players to beat because they're super focused and they're giving their maximum, and if you ever encounter this kind of player, the only way you can truly beat them is to be on the same level, meaning that you need a lot of practice and you need a decent warm-up to get into this zone, and when you both are on the same level, the better man will win. And these players are tremendous and super cool practice, because when you're both in the same zone, you are most open, you're like super open to learning and noticing your mistakes and not repeating them again, and your brain is super receptive. So these will be some of your peak points, and trust me, you'll know when you have them, and when you sit down and you're like, well, today was my day and I was playing super good. This is the best time that you can like learn and improve and go past and beyond your limit. So these players can only be beaten by like really hard work and playing like for hours and hours and really getting into that mental space of just solely improving and getting better at the game. And the final category we have are having fun guys. So this Sonic Fox is one of the greatest players of Mortal Kombat, and he is a typical example of this, because he's mastered all of the previous categories, and he, as far as I can see, is always tunnel visioning. He has tremendous focus on the game, but the Super Saiyan form above that, which he has, is he's constantly having fun. He's not tilting, he's laughing, he's having fun playing the game. And when you can combine like tunnel visioning with having fun, which comes after a tremendous amounts of like practicing and putting hours into the game, when the game just becomes second nature to you, and you can just focus on having fun actually without thinking about it. And it's all muscle memory and combos and champions. This is when you're the most dangerous and you're the top tier in the world, the best player you can be. And honestly, beating these players is very hard or nearly impossible if you're not on that level, and if you're not like constantly playing in the zone. And this is like, you do your life and you do the game, and that's all there is to it. So you want to be like, you want to go to EVO, you want to be the best player, and you're putting all your time and effort into it. That's how you beat having fun players. But these are the rarest players on the planet. These are like the top 8 EVO champions, so you will not encounter them most of the time. The best players you will encounter probably in Kombat League are the tunnel visioners, and they will be the hardest matchups for you. So guys, that's a wrap. That's what I got for you today. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, maybe leave a sub, helps out a lot. And until next time, be good, take care.